Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks. And somebody sent me this photograph that they're going to engrave on a black tumbler, or no, on a stainless steel tumbler. So they're going to spray it with like Enduro Mark to get the black, I'm guessing. It's not a very good picture. It's already pretty little. And I always hit the plus key on the keyboard and make a copy of it just in case I mess up and don't have to go reload it. I'm going to go ahead and resample it, but since I've kind of compressed it, it's already 300 dots per inch. I'm going to convert it to a bitmap, and I'm going to convert it to grayscale for a number of reasons, but I think it just works better. I'm going to go to trace, outline trace, but this time I'm going to use low quality image because it's kind of a low quality. But I am going to bump up. You see we've lost a lot of detail. Her nose and her mouth are gone. I'm going to bump it up a little bit till I get all what I kind of want. Then I'm going to take that and just move it away. It's really pretty good. I'm going to take the yellow box trick. I'm going to draw a rectangle, turn it yellow, go up to object, order, back a page, and you can see there's no white background. It's really good to go. And from this point on, you don't want to move anything. You want to nudge everything. So this thing is less than 2 inches, so I set my nudge factor on 2 because we're going to nudge some things out of the way in just a little bit. I'm going to take this and go up to object, group, and ungroup. And then I'm just going to start deleting. Now, if you're going to grade this on wood, you could just do this and have different colors. But when you're doing a stainless steel tumbler, you really can't. And then you've got a choice here. You can either leave these little gray lines, a little specks of gray, or turn them all black later. Her face is a little bit harder, but I'm going to take away that part of her face. I'm going to take everything away that's not black. And this is where you'd want to go back to a yellow box trick to make sure everything's gone. I'm going to take her mouth away. I'm going to take that one. I'm going to go ahead and make it black. I'm going to see what happens when you take that away. It's actually too much. So now we need to work on her hair. And I'm going to try to take away the gray part of her hair. And at this point, you could add more hair or less hair. You know, if we back up here, you could actually take that one and go left click, right click. And then you could actually kind of change this and make this left click, right click. And what I'm doing there is I'm taking away the feel in that particular area. And I was just going to show you what you could, just depending on how you want it to look. Then you could take your Smart Fill tool and fill in the other part. And it's leaving those parts, but I actually think there's, that's maybe too much. So let's look to see what this looks like. Yeah, it's all kind of connected. You know, I didn't notice that was gray. We could take that out. Just kind of, and you could always change things, and you know, you could, you know, add hair, take away hair. I'm going to take just like a 2-point line. I'm actually going to use the 3-point curve line, and I'm going to block that off, and that should work. Then we can take the Smart Fill tool and fill that in. So you can kind of do different things that you want to. You could actually take this line and make it other than a hairline. Of course, that's going to be too thick because the picture's so little. So back up. See, it kind of adds to it, and you just kind of play around with it. And just kind of pick what you think is the best. And then there's one more line that we could probably delete. And, you know, just play around with what you want to do. Now, I counted these, and there's, starting from here to the bottom, there were 20, so I'm going to say there's 40. But before we do anything, I need to get those circles. So for just a second, I'm going to go Control G, and I'm going to hit P and put it in the center of the page. Then I'm going to draw an ellipse and hit P, and you see I did pretty close. I'm going to take the shift key and expand that out a little bit. Then I'm going to Control D and make a duplicate, and I'm going to hold down the shift key until I get that inner circle. And that's too little. Let's say that's good enough. Now remember that I grouped this together so I can move that out of the way. So this is in the center. Now what I'm going to do is ungroup it. And I'm going to take away these parts that we do not need. And also just remember you can take your Alt key and just anything you touch, it'll delete. But like when you get close in here, you can't really do that. But when you get on like this edge, hold down the Alt key and it's going to, anything it touches, it's going to delete. Now at this time, we've got the young lady, and I'm not going to take the time to clean her up. And if you remember, we've got her ungrouped so we could take the shape tool, or actually the smoothing tool, maybe make it a little bit bigger than that, and smooth out some of these parts. It really looks pretty good. I would work around her eyes and take the smoothing tool and, well, evidently I've got to ungroup this. No, it's not a group. It should work. There we go. And, you know, just kind of, I don't know why I'm having trouble ungrouping that. Don't forget to take away our line that we drew earlier. I don't think that's going to do it. So whenever you have trouble getting something, remember that you got your nudge factor. And if that was kind of in the way, hit delete, and then you can nudge that right back. And at that time, you can kind of look at what you're, you know, if you want that or not, if you want to clean that up. That looks pretty good. I would take out maybe that second little dot in her eyeball, and you could take that out with the shape tool and just grab that shape and delete those nodes. And, you know, clean up her lips or nose a little bit with the smoothing tool. If you have X7 or above, you have the smoothing tool, and just kind of tweak it. Now, if you look, there's some darker blacks and blacks. So at this time, I would take the whole thing and right or left click black. Well, that's not going to work in that case because that's a fill. It really probably wouldn't matter. What we could try, let's try this. We could grab the whole thing, go up to object, and combine it. Nope, that's doing the same thing. That's because I smart filled that and is working out. And really the colors won't matter. What you can do is pick on the colors that are lighter black. I think I got the, yep, I got the right one. And then make it black. So take that lighter one and make it black. I'm just right clicking or left clicking my mouse. And then you'd want to play with her hair a little bit more. Now, if we select it all, we have our boundary tool, but I actually want to go to object and group it together. And when we do that, there's no boundary tool, but there still is. You can go to object, shaping, and boundary, and it's going to put a boundary. So we're going to nudge that out of the way. Then at this time, I'm going to go to effects, contour. I'm going to contour the outside with smooth round corners, 0.05. And I'm just going to get a little bit of a contour. That's going to be the part right up here where these objects are away from her hair. So I'm going to select it all, go up to object, break the contour apart, and then I'm going to nudge the black part. So now we have it. We only really need that right now. So since this is in the center of the page, we're going to take a 2-point line, holding down the control button, and then hit P. We're going to rotate that line, or we're going to Control D and make a duplicate, 4.5 degrees. Because there's 40 of them, we need 9, but you're doing 2 lines at one time. Well, my computer will do that from time to time. And if you ever get that, if you can't good at math, you can go plus 4.5. And on my computer, I just have to slow down a little bit. So it can, did it again. And this would be a good example of using the rotation docker. Now I missed one, but we could rotation docker, and it'll solve that problem. Let's what we can do, and this is always the best way to do it, is nudge everything out of the way, grab your lines and just delete them, nudge that right back up to the center, draw our line, and this time you don't have to make a copy. We're going to go to the rotation, go to Windows, Dockers, Transform or Transformation. We're going to rotate it 4.5 times, and I think we need 20. Nope, we need 40. And in this case, it doesn't matter if you make too many lines because they're going to be on top of each other, and we're not going to really use the lines. We're going to use the Smart Fill tool. So at this time, I'm going to take the Smart Fill tool. Doesn't really matter, I don't think, on which one you start at. Most of the ones on top are away from her head anyway. And I'm just going to fill these in. And I'm not even going to have to nudge anything out of the way because we're going to, or delete. Normally I would nudge the Smart Fill away so I can grab it. But in this case, we're going to delete the lines anyway. I just want the Smart Fill. I should have maybe pre-done one of these so you won't have to. So I'm just doing every other one. And I find if you go on the outside, you can go a little quicker because the outside's just a hair bigger. That's what kind of makes the graphic good. And see what I said about if we had double lines, it's not going to really matter. And then just take this and right click, no line. Now the lines are really there, but they won't print or anything. We'll get rid of our transformation docker. Now at this time, I'm going to left click, right click. I've still got a few lines there. I'm just going to delete them. They're not going to be in the way. Well, no, I didn't want to right click, left click. What was I thinking? I want the colors. Yeah, that's all I want. Now, well, you know what I do want? You know, if we select all these and nudge them down, I bet you our lines are up here, and they are, so we can delete them. Now we can nudge it back and we can left click, right click. Still got a few lines, and doesn't really matter. I'm going to now bring the contour of the young lady back in. And this is what we need to Smart Fill. And really, truly, I didn't have to Smart Fill it, pre-Smart Fill it. I don't know what I was thinking. But we're going to go here, 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 here. Yeah, this would have saved you a step instead of Smart Filling and just put those lines in. Then go all the way to there. Well, you need to be perfect. So that would be filled, that would be filled. So this one would be filled because you want them to come up even. And what this is doing, the boundary tool is stop the Smart Fill from leaking into the other parts. And voila. Now we can actually take away all the lines by right clicking, and we can take our young lady, and because we've nudged, we can nudge it right in there. And see what it did, it put a boundary, much like the example, my boundary might be a little bit bigger around her hat and her hair, and so you could play around with that. I think it looks pretty good. Anyway, I hope that helped a little bit. Thank you for watching.